this video I plan to show you how I use some of my gel prints for collage, and I will show you from A to Z, and I will try to also show you kind of all the mistakes that I make along the way and what I learn from them. You can see that I'm using on the right side, it's a very low quality gel plate from some unknown brand, and I use that as a color palette to kind of mix my paints on the side. On here on the first print there was some gunk left over from some previous prints, but that's fine because I already know that I'm going to do a collage that will be a wheat field, and that will help me get some 3D effect and some color around my single strands of wheat. So what I basically do is try to have several shades of wheat yellow, summer yellow, and to do that I basically mix one great sunshine yellow with different shades of darker orange, a little bit of brown at some point to add a layer that will be a bit darker and create again this ombre effect. You can see the stencil that I used, the gray one, with the kind of Moroccan tile pattern that I'm going to use again. This is something that I cut out of my silhouette cameo from an old binder divider plastic one, so I can reuse it as many times as I want. I ended up not using the orange because that came out much too dark. And then as you can see, the stencil was also cut out of a sheet of mylar that was cut also on the silhouette cameo. And you can see the top is missing the border because the cameo somehow didn't cut properly. It cut my margin, but that's okay. I can still use the stencil as it is. It just doesn't look as pretty. As you can see, I'm reusing old copy paper that was already printed on one side. There is no waste because in the end it will be stuck on paper anyway, so who cares if one side wasn't white in the first place, as long as the print doesn't show through. And as you will see later, in some cases the print does show through, and I think it actually adds something to the collage. And here I decided to angle my stencil, and then you can see even more the wheat field in case there's some wind around. Time now to get started with the sky portion of my collage. So again, I'm using 3 different shades of blue here that I am mixing on the side plate and rolling onto my gel plate. It's an A4 size gel plate. Again, we're using old paper. You can see at the top of the screen here that I am actually printing on the printed side already of the copy paper. I wanted to see how much comes out. I see with one layer, you can still see too much the pattern, so I will add some more layers later. And here I added some pearlescent white, and that will give a very shiny finish to all the prints, and we'll see that much better later. Again, a pattern that my cameo cut kind of sideways out of a mylar sheet. Now you see with the pearlescent on top that the black pattern has almost disappeared. And the ghost print onto black paper because I just didn't have any more blue backgrounds. Time to now cut the pieces. So here I've basically taken one sheet of yellow. I've cut it into 3 pieces that I'm overlaying so that I can cut 3 shapes at once, because the die I'm using, I basically only have one in that shape, and so it allows me to cut 3. It's a leaf, I think, 3 leaves every time I pass it through the machine. And then I need to split the 3 different layers that I got out of the die. and then I will basically have a whole lot of pieces and I start collaging them. So these are my backgrounds that I used, and I glued them on top using Tombow glue. You can see the 3D effect, and then I just cut waves out of the different shades of blue for the sky to simulate a little bit the clouds.